Now you can go ahead.
Good evening, my dear participants. So I'm in first person I say I am proud to be Kannadiga. I am proud to be from Karnataka. So you might be surprised. What is this fellow is talking about himself? He's boasting himself that he's proud of being in Karnataka and Kannadiga. No, it's not so. So in Karnataka is such a great state. This place was ruled by so many great kings. So political history of Karnataka is very rich. So it started from Cholas to Chalukyas to Kadambas to Gangas to there are so many rulers. So coming to the recent history, our great kings, Mysore kings, they have ruled the state and they have made it a welfare state. And so it's a great state and great contribution from Mysore kings. So this Aras family, that Maharaja family, so that dates back to 1800s. So where they have contributed in all fields. So whether it is economic, social, or any other sphere, Mysore kings have contributed to the greatest extent. And today, what we are seeing in Karnataka, such a great developed state, it's all because of contributions of those kings, particularly Mysore, kings of Mysore. And maybe non-Kannadigas and non-Karnataka people, so they'll be surprised today if they are with us. So they are supposed to be part of this Sambhashane because they can know more about kings. So these Mysore kings, so silently they have contributed their great this thing participation development of this state, both socially, economically, scientifically, etc. Even starting from our IASC, Indian Institute of Science, to KRS Dam, to roads, everything is contributed by the great Mysore kings. So, having said this, so I'm not taking too much of time for the history of Karnataka. So, to talk about this, we are having amidst of us Sri N. Sathyaprakash, who has done his doctorate in contributions of Mysore kings for development of the state. So we have a great person today. This morning when I spoke to Sathyaprakash, I felt he's so humble. He's a very humble man. So we are very happy to have him today. He is not only a speaker, but this evening he is a great philanthropist. He's a great educationist, and his the thing profile you might have everybody must have gone through by now, and it's a fact. And even as I got to know, and many people from Bangalore North area, particularly Rajanikanth area, they all know him. So because he was conducting free tuitions for children, for those who are economically deprived and reserve categories like SC, STs, free tuitions. So he has done a great job. So today he is with us. So we are very happy to have him today. He is a great educationist. And we are approaching September 5th, the Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan Day, which is celebrated as Teachers' Day. And today having Sathyaprakash, an educationist, with us, so is a great, it is something like tribute to that September 5th, Teachers' Day. So he's a great teacher, great speaker. So I spoke to him this morning. So I'm very happy to invite him. Sathyaprakash sir, welcome to Sambhashane show. So thank you very much for being with us today. And I request you to share this thing, sir. Share your insight and contributions of Mysore Kings for this state, sir. So I request NSP to take over, sir.
Before NSP starts, I request our president to speak a few words.
Yeah. Good evening to all of you, and particularly our special guest, Dr. Sathyaprakash. I'm very happy to see our very senior officer, Mr. Bhima Shankar sir, also has joined us. Sir, welcome you to this gathering and all the participants.
Thank you very much, and all friends. Thank you very much.
Am I audible? Thank you. Already,
audible?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir. Already Rajani has already Dr. Sathyaprakash, and I'm very happy that we are talking about contributions of Wodeyar today, and Wodeyar king, and very eminent speaker has come here. Thank you. And among all the kings in the world, Nalvadi Krishnaraja Wodeyar has been distinct, and he will be there forever. Apart from many things what he has done for development of Mysore state, in fact, he is the one who has taken a bold step for introducing a reservation in his kingdom, in spite of the engineer Vishwesvaraya resigning from the Diwan thing. Even then, he was not deterred, but he took the decision. And such a great leader and such a great family we are going to discuss today. Thank you and welcome, Dr. Sathyaprakash. We are all eagerly waiting to listen to you. Thank you.
Before
Thank you very
NSP
much.
takes over, I
Yeah.
request all the listeners to mute yourself so that we will listen to him. Let us not disturb him. Shiv Kumar ji and Bhima Shankar, please mute. Bhima Shankar ji has muted. Shiv Kumar, please mute. Sir, please, NSP sir, time
Yes,
is
sir.
yours.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for the opportunity first, particularly to Kodandram, who has approached me, who is also a good friend of mine. And I am very much thankful to him and all the officers who have joined here. On behalf of myself, I am welcoming you all to listen to us. I don't know how far I am going to satisfy because it is a 1 hour program where we are having a lot of things about Mysore Wodeyars. The Wodeyar dynasty, in fact, is a beautiful story for about 547 years. Started in 1399 and ended in 1947, September 27th, with the Indian independence. The most important aspect that I am talking to you today, I have taken two important points. One is about the economic growth and another one is about the cultural growth. But it is a very vast one, but it is an interesting aspect. Because in the present scenario, where we are talking about KRS and other things, you might have read in the newspaper about, that's why I have taken this concept of economic growth of Mysore during the period of the Wodeyars. Now, this is a project that I made in the year 1991. You must be assured to say that my students, in my almost about 11th year of service, they are pestered me like anything about Wodeyars, which I was not knowing, to tell you frankly. So in 1991, I had one question about the Wodeyar when I started my topic on Wodeyars. A topic for about 4.5 pages in my textbook. That was during the period of September I have to teach for the exams. My students did not allow me to teach at all because they wanted to ask number of questions. So you might be astonished to listen that I had at least 126 questions in a chapter of 4 pages. And I was not knowing the answers. I asked an excuse for the first time in my class. And I promised I will teach everything after I completed this chapter for the purpose of exam. I promised. I went to palace. I was in the palace with my children for about 3 days. I collected some information. And I, of course, fortunately, I had the good understanding with Srikandadatta Narasimharaja Wodeyar. I should have been his classmate in Maharaja's College, Mysore, but unfortunately, I could not due to my economics teacher. I was forced to come back to my village and continue my studies in a college called as First Aid College in Konanur, Arkalguru Taluk. Mr. Rajanikanth must be knowing about Konanur because he hailed from that Hobli. So with this background, whatever I have studied for about 10 to 12 years continuously, and so to say, it has reached to 30 years of my service in the Wodeyars. Slowly and steadily, I made a point clear about Wodeyars, and of course, I got delayed from Tumkur University for this. I thank all my children for this. Children are the asset for me, and my students are the assets to me, and they are the one who have to be honored everything, whatever honor I am getting today or all these days, it goes to my students. because they made me as a good teacher. So I owe a lot to my students. Even today, I cannot forget about that. So coming to the concept today, I don't want to waste my time about this because Rajanikanth has given some hint about all my concepts. So today I have taken two aspects: the contributions of Wodeyars toward the economic growth of Mysore in particular, and how it contributed to the Indian history or to the Indian economy. That also could be taken. It is all with examples and with the Diwans and with the Wodeyars. We study mainly about Mummadi Krishnaraja Wodeyar, Chamaraja Wodeyar the 10th, Nalvadi Krishnaraja Wodeyar, and Jai Chamaraja Wodeyar. These four important periods. We are having 25 Wodeyars, but we cannot take all these Wodeyars because if we take Raja Wodeyar 1607 and or 1610, he has also done yeoman service for the cause of Mysore. He was the greatest among the earliest of the Wodeyars. Today I am concentrating on the economic development first during the period of the Wodeyars, mainly from Mummadi Krishnaraja Wodeyar. It was the period of Devan Purnaya, who was very much instilled and inspiring to many of the concepts of Mummadi Krishnaraja Wodeyar, as he was the first one in the concept of providing irrigational assistance for the economic growth or the agriculture or industries or anything about that. It is mainly concentrating on revenues aspect. So in order to help the irrigation aspect, he constructed tanks for the purpose of agriculturists, then some smaller canals to provide irrigation facilities or water facilities. A dam across Lakshman Tirtha was constructed at Sagarkate in T. Narsipur or something, some area, and where thousands of acres of land were agricultured. They provided lots of production for this. Then between 1831 and 1881, directly I am coming to the Commissioners' rule, where irrigation department itself was established. This irrigation department in 1864 was established during the Commissioners' rule, as Mysore came under the Commissioners between 1831 and 1881 for a period of 50 years. There was a lot of development, there is no doubt about that. But after Diwan Rangachalu became the Diwan of Chamaraja Wodeyar the 10th, about 4,000 acres of land to farmers were given, which was for the purpose of complete agriculture purpose. Then even some of the lands, acres of land were given in Mysore, not only in Mysore but also in Bangalore for the purpose. For the economic growth, many railway lines were started during the period, linking many of the important areas, particularly we remember here KGF, Kodar Goldfields, where they provided railway facilities mainly for the purpose of transporting from mining to other areas, gold concepts. So apart from that, Diwan K. Sheshadhyar, who became the Diwan of Rangacharlu, was instrumental in providing loans to the agriculturists for the purpose of irrigation. That shows about the economic growth. Then, for the first time in 1888, an exhibition was provided, industrial exhibition was started. Even Mysore is very famous for that exhibition, palace exhibition, we are calling it. Now, during the annual exhibition or the annual Dasra festival, we are having the exhibition. A Department of Agriculture was started in 1886 for the purpose of providing agricultural loans and agricultural methods and for increasing the production in agricultural field. The agricultural banks were started in 1894 to provide loans to the agriculturists. In fact, many of these agricultural or the Takavi loans were given even at that time. The gold mining, the cotton mills, the woolen mills, and all this has resulted because of the progress of railways, and production became very much, and Mysore got a good name in the name of getting good revenue also from the agricultural field, industrial field. Many of the important aspects like Bangalore-Mysore railway lines or Bangalore Bangalore, Mysore, Bangalore, Gubi, Bangalore, Harihara. So many railway lines were started in the period. Yes.
There is some disturbance. Murali Kanipakkam, please mute yourself. Sir, please go ahead. Sorry for the inconvenience.
No problem. No problem. So we come to the period of Krishnaraj Wodeyar IV, was called as a Rajarshi by Mahatma Gandhiji. And as a man who is remembered always in the life of every Indian, I'm not telling Mysorean, every Indian, because we are having so many qualities of Krishnaraj Wodeyar. I'll come to that later part. I want to just find 5 or 10 minutes about Krishnaraj Wodeyar only, about his aspect towards Mysore. Then during the period of Nalvaji Krishnaraj, before he came to the throne, he was a very young boy. Before that, the Queen Mother took out the administration to her side, and Marikadve Reservoir was started across Vedavati River near Chitradurga, which is even now very famous for the purpose of agriculture and drinking water. The hydroelectric power station was started in 1902 for providing power. And in fact, Krishnaraj Wodeyar was responsible for this. Krishnaraja Bhupa Manemaniye Deepa. This is famous proverb for the purpose of lightning. Even the street lights are providing power to KGF or power to Bangalore. In fact, Bangalore was the first city to be electrified in Asia itself, for that matter. Then the power supply to almost all the surrounding areas was very easy for them. Then many new railway lines were started. I want to give one of the letter written by him later in the end part. Then during the period of the different divans like P.N. Krishnamurti, water supply was provided to KGF from Betamangala, which is having a very big tank, and they provided water as well as irrigation facilities. Then the Kaveri power installation was started in 1903, 1904. During the period of Diwan T. Anandarao, Mysore Economic Conference was started. This is for the purpose of economic growth. The economic progress, which was started in the name of Mysore Economic Conference on 10th June 1911, with a very planned effort for the purpose of increasing the revenue, the economic system, the food system, everything covered, including industries. This Mysore Economic Conference, which became later what we now call it as the Federation of Karnataka Chamber of Commerce and Industries, FKCCI, was started at that time by Visheshwaraya, 1916. On 8th May 1916, and during 2016, 8th May or June, they conducted 100 years program where we brought out a coffee book, table book at the Kirtman. That is the one which we brought out. I was one of the members for that. So at the time of this, in fact, KRS work was started in 1911, which was completed during the period of Mirza Ismail 1931. You all remember about how the Mysoreans were responsible, particularly Krishnaraj, and the mother was responsible to sell their gold and ornaments, taking it to Bombay, giving about 80 lakhs rupees to this project, which is a project of even the Mandya people are remembering every day for the cause of this only. What a great gesture of the mother and the son for the cause of the development of Mysore. This becomes an emotion for every Mysoreans, in fact, when we say about this. Even we are not ready to spend even a single paise for the cause of economic concept or the social concept. When we remember about Krishna in his Bhagavad Gita says, Samaja Runa or social debt is everyone's debt. Everyone has to give his contribution to the society. We remember this. Karmanya Vadikarasya Mahapalesh Kadachana. It is everyone's work. We have to do everything for the bit of the society. This has been taken by the mother or the queen as well as the son for the cause of constructing the Khyars Dam, which is the lifeline of everyone's. Every farmer is remembering this. That has become the Raita Gita for the Mysoreans and the Karnataka government. You remember this? So, number of industries were started through the Mysore Economic Conference. We remember Visheshwarya always, the Pitamaha of the industries. Visheshwarya, we remember about by 1913 and 14, there were totally 72 factories in Mysore, or the surrounding areas of Mysore, what you call it as Karnataka state. Whether you take the example of soap factory, the present Karnataka Soaps and Detergents Limited in Bangalore, the metal factory, the Central Industrial Workshop, the handloom industries, the Khyar Mills, Krishnaraja Mills, Mysore, the government weaving factory, the metal and industrial factory, the Mysore iron and steel factory in Bhadravati. You take the very examples of Mysore cements, Mysore paper mills in Bhadravati. See how much of life is given to each and everyone in Bhadravati. More than 13 to 14,000 workers were working in all this. What an indebted creature for us, which has been to be shown to the Mysore Wodeyars, particularly Nalvadi Krishnaraja Wodeyar. That's why Gandhiji calls him as Rajanishi. So we take the Divan's example of Mirza Ismail. He was one who was studied along with the Krishnaraja Wodeyar. Who's Krishnaraja Wodeyar, the royal family started the royal school. He studied along with him. He became the Divan. See, there is no question of inequality. He is a Raja, he is a Divan. Later he was appointed as a Divan. First passed this KC exam or Karnataka Civil Service, Mysore Civil Service was called. This is how he treated the people. That is the greatness and the kindness towards the people, not only the officials, but for each every tribal people remember this. I'll come to that later. So HAL, the present HAL, what we call it, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, was started in the period of Mirza Ismail. You remember, 15 to 20,000 workers were given appointment. The life of the people. They constructed a number of quarters for them. Even now we can see this. It has not lost. We remember all the examples of this. It is a living example of Mysore Wodeyars. You take the example of implement factory in Hassan, or you take the chemical and fertilizers factory in Belagola near Srirangpatna, or you take the example of match factory in Shumaga, sugar factory in Mandya. See, I told 72 factories. At least you take 1,000 people working there, and on average, 72,000 families were living there, and even now living. Sorry. So, even during the period of Mirza Ismail, they started the land mortgage banks. The land mortgage banks giving loan, mortgaging their land. At the time of particularly sowing, they wanted money. It was given. Even today, we remember all these sorts of the example in a different manner, of course. I don't want to comment on that. The irrigation through canals, particularly Visheshwaraya Canal, which is a yeoman work of the Wodeyars, causing for so many acres of land, thousands of acres of land in and around these areas of KRS. So it has all resulted in the agricultural production of these. So one important line I would like to draw your attention, please, about Sada Visheshwaraya. I just want to read one or two lines, I don't take, it is about 5 pages a letter. One important line about Mysore Chamber of Commerce I want to quote, because even today it is working. Even today it is working after 110 years, almost 109 years. Just like what we are having in the name of Mysore University or even in the name of Kannada Sahitya Parishad. These are all the living examples. About the Mysore Chamber of Commerce on 8th May 1916, inaugurating the meeting, Vishwesvaraya addressed, "Gentlemen, we meet here today to inaugurate a Chamber of Commerce, the object of which is to safeguard and promote the special interest of trade and commerce in Mysore. Trade, commerce, and industry in Mysore." See how far-sighted they were. It was taken about 110 years back. Now we see about the development also. Now, he remembers the great work of Mr. Charlton, Mr. Rose, Mr. Gurudachar, Mr. Vardhamanaya, and Mr. Ranganatha Rao Sahib. These are all the preliminaries which they have completed, and now in a position to announce the birth of this today's Karnataka Chamber of Commerce and Industries. See, 110 years back, he has quoted this. In the same manner, he concludes, the more urgent and essential directions in which the people of Mysore need training are in manufacturing field and building work, commerce and business, science and applied chemistry. See how they have taken. I'll give two examples. One in the name of Indian Institute of Science, which was started in 1911 by Krishna Wodeyar, giving thousands of acres of land. And now it is a premier institute and one of the research institute which is having a name in the world history of science. On the same line, we remember the example of banking sector in Mysore. State Bank of Mysore, what we called it, now it has become State Bank of India, of course. How much work they have taken. Even today we see the old building, State Bank of Mysore headquarters in KG Road, with a new multi-story building. Of course, you have all seen in Bangalore. So this is the far-sightedness of our great Vidyaratnakara Dr, who has been encouraged by our Nalvadi Krishna Wodeyar. But one important thing that we have to remember with all the divans and also Krishna Wodeyar is that they are selfless workers. No question of selfishness. One important story, small story I will tell about Krishna Wodeyar. One of the three relatives have been given education scholarship from Mysore Palace during his period, who became very good officers later and who approached Krishna Wodeyar to be placed as divans or the officers in Mysore itself. He frankly refused it. I have helped you to become educated, not for the purpose of giving or recommending for employment opportunity. You have to take employment for yourself or compete with others. Take the appointment. I'll be glad. I will not recommend. On the same line, Vishwesvaraya was also like that. He did not get any recommendation. He did not recommend anyone also. Even many of the relatives approached him. He was very frank in giving some 100 rupees or 200 rupees to them and asking him to go by bus back to the native place without getting any sort of recommendation. This is their selfless service. That's why our Mysoreans are remembered for so many things. Of course, time has changed. We don't want to comment on this. This is one important aspect about the Mysore, how it has grown economically into the present stature. I have taken around 15 minutes for this. I will take another 15 minutes. For, of course, it is very less, I know, but I am just giving a glimpses of the Mysore Wodeyars, because this Wodeyar book, which I have written, is about 286 pages. with only the help of the children I have told already. And I am very happy about that because I belong to that, not that lineage, but I was one of the history students of Mysore. But unfortunately, as a student, I did not study much about Wodeyars. But as a teacher, for about 30 years, I made a research on this. I'm very happy about this. And I'm very proud to be a Mysorean for that matter. So, another important aspect is about cultural contributions. The cultural aspect of Mysore is very, very great. Mysore is called as a cultural capital of Karnataka. Bangalore is a capital, political capital, or for administrative purpose. Cultural capital. They were saying that Mysore, Kannada, I will just tell one sentence. Mysore ಸಂಸ್ಥಾನ ವಿಶ್ವದಲ್ಲೇ ಹೆಸರುಗಳಿಸಲು ಕಾರಣ ಅವರ ಸಾಂಸ್ಕೃತಿಕ ಕೊಡುಗೆ. The entire part of the world knows about Mysore. Now Mysore ಅಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ Mysore Palace ಗೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡತ್ತೆ. Brindavan gardens will come to our mind. Then the three important places like Belur, Halabed and Somnathpura comes to our mind. The encouragement given by the earlier period, like the Hoysalas, Mr. Rajanikanth, if I remember, he has quoted something about this. We cannot forget. Many of the dynasties, right from the Kadambas or even the Hoysalas or the Ganga's contribution was very great. But during this period of 1399 and 1947, the middle period is very important for us. Now, if I take the example of the different cultural contribution of Mysore, Mysuru, my Siriyu Suregundantihudu, my Manava Suregundantihudu. That is attracting not only the mind or even the personality itself. It attracts like that. Mysore, everyone knows about this. Now, during the field of this only cultural contribution, it could be divided into so many aspects. One is about the literature aspect. Contribution of literature is very great. If you remember just one song, the first song, which is called as the Rajanikanth or Mysuru Samasthanada Gita. It is called as the state anthem at that period. Kayo Sri Gauri Karuna Lahari. This is a 3-stanza poem written by Basoppa Shastri in 1881 for Chamarajendra Wodeyar, who made this as the state anthem. The beginning of the program of Mysore and the end of the program, they were singing like what we are singing as the national anthem or the Kannada Gita or the Rajya Gita. Apart from this, even the schools, every school has made it compulsory to learn this song at that time. Till almost 1960s, it was in vogue. Later, it has been changed. Anyway, we cannot discuss all those things. If you remember the period of Raja Wodeyar, there were the poets like Tirumalarya, contributed the Karna Vrittanta. I am giving just a glimpse. Then Raja Wodeyar, Chamaraja Wodeyar, he himself was a great poet who wrote Chama Rajyokti Vilasa, which is called as a Kannada Valmiki Ramayana. Then he wrote Brahmottara Kanda. Then Ramachandra wrote Ashwavaidya. Then Padma Pandita, who wrote Ayasara Muchaya, that is about how to rear the horses for the purpose of army. Then during the period of Kantirava Narasaraja Wodeyar, Bhaskara, who wrote Behara Ganita, a very great mathematician, Govinda Vaidya, Kantirava Narasaraja Vijaya, name of the books. Then Chikkadevara Wodeyar, till 1704, he himself was a great poet who amassed wealth of 9 crores, Namakoti Narayana. Even today, Lord Chalvanarayana Swami temple is in the name of Chikkadevaraja, who was responsible for many of these things. Like Raja Wodeyar was responsible for the Kirita. Vairumudi, we call it as Rajamudi and Vairumudi. On March 11th, usually we conduct the Vairmudi is a great Utsava or the procession for Lord Chelumarayana Swami at Melukote. Then Chikupadhyaya, a great writer of Kannada, wrote 3 books, including Divya Suri Charite, Sringaramma, who wrote about Padmini Kalyana. Then Timakavi wrote Yadavagiri Mahatme, Sunchi Honnamma, a very ordinary servant in one of the family, wrote Hadibadaya Dharma. Hennu Hennandeke, Beelugudivri, Kandu Kanada Gavidaru. A lady writing about the ladies, and the ladies were given a sort of importance at that time. She was taken as Asthana Vidwan or Asthana poetess. Like that, Dr. Krishnaraja Wodeyar was responsible to give encouragement to Balavaidya Chelva, a great poet who wrote Kannada, Leelavati and Ratna Shastra. Rani Cheluvamba, queen, she herself wrote Varanandi Kalyana, Venkatachala Mahatme, Kaveri Mahatme. So immediately Krishnaraja Wodeyar, he wrote Kama Chala Mahatme, no, so many books. Then Devachandra, who wrote Rajavalikate. Then Mummadli Krishna Wodeyar, 50 books he himself wrote. One of the important concepts is about Sri Tattva Nidhi, one of the famous book. Everyone should see at least, if can't read. It's a very important book. Then, like that, Kempu Narayana, who wrote Mudra Munjusha in Kannada. Like that, so many important writers and the books we remember. Then Aliya Lingaraja, he himself wrote 50 books. We can very highly unimaginable to see that there were 378 books wrote during one ruler's period. You count all these things for about 25 odd years. Then 10th, Chamaraja Wodeyar the 10th, he wrote, he encouraged about Srikanta Shastri of Nanjanugud, a very famous writer. Then M.S. Putana. Then the modern Kannada developed during the period from 1880s to the period of 1940s. We remember about the Acharya Trayas like Tinam Sri Kantaya, Talukina Venkannaya. See, these are the people who are responsible for all these things. Later we are having so many. Of course, Kuvempu come along that line later, under Tasu Shamarao. Then so many writers like that were responsible. They were encouraged like this. So encouragement is very necessary. If encouragement is given, inspiration automatically comes to us to write. I have given my own example of this. This inspiration from the students. That's why I always remember my students. Then Nalvadi Krishnaraja Wodeyar, of course, highest in every aspect. It is the golden period for the Mysoreans. He himself was a Vainika Shikhamani. He remembers so many instruments in music. Then, during the period of this only, we remember about Tiger Vardachar, a very famous dramatist, a writer. He was called as a tiger by Rabindranath Tagore after seeing one of the drama enacted by him. He had come all along with Calcutta to see this drama to Mysore. In the name of Tiger Vardachar, we are having a hall in Sheshadipuram, Bangalore. That shows about the Royal Drama Company was started by him. It was an encouragement given by Nalvadi Krishnaraja Wodeyar. So, in fact, Jayachamaraja Wodeyar, he himself wrote Dattatreya Charite. About Chamundeshwari, he has written a number of songs, kritis. Like this, we take so many people in the field. If I come to the field of music now, there are 53 listed out musicians by me now, referring so many aspects. 53 musicians during the period. Right from the period of Krishnaraja Wodeyar, the third Mumbadi Krishnaraja Wodeyar, to the period of almost the end period of 1940 period to our Nalvadi Krishna Wodeyar. If I give the examples like Veena Venkata Subbaya, Mysuru Sadashivarao, Chinnaya, Nalvadi, Lalgudi Rama Iyer, Veena Shamanda, Nanjegudi Subhashastri, Veena Padmanabhaya, Jayaramacharya, Mysuru Karigiriraya, Veena Bakshi Subbanna, Asthanidda Sundara Shastri, Pidaram Krishnappa, Pidil Chaudaya, Veena Sheshana, our Dwaraswamy Iyengar from Hassan district, Adihalli, the entire family was serving the Nalvadi Krishna Wodeyar, Jayachamraj Wodeyar, because I am very lucky to see at least Vinay Dwaraswamy Iyengar in Bangalore. Before I wrote this book, I approached him. He was so kind. And I went to his house for about 2 days. I sat with him. He was so cordial to tell so many stories about the Wodeyars. And though he was a boy of 11 years, he was asked to give a concert in front of Nalvadi Krishna Wodeyar. How much they were encouraging, you can just imagine. This is that period. Then Chintalapalli family, Bhairavi, Lakshmi Naranappa, known for Bhairavi Raga. Then Pidil Venkata Subbaya, Veena Venkatagiriyappa, M. Venkatesha Iyengar, of course, the father of Veena Dwaraswamy Iyengar. Then Chikkarama Raya, Puluguru Krishnachar, Radapalli Ananta Krishna Sharma, Shivarudrappa, Channakeshavaya, Devendrappa, Thitte Krishna Iyengar. Then R.S. Keshumurthy was in Bangalore for many times. Go to Vajjam K.S. Narayana Iyengar. Then Puttaswamaya, S.N. Mariyappa, Mutturu Swami Thevar, Chandrasekhara Shastri, Kempegoda, Malavalli Subbanna, Nava Murali Vidwan S.K. Ramachar, Veena Sambhaya, Shunti Venkatramaya. See, so many musicians, they were also responsible for many new musical instruments. Then, on one side, we take the instruments of even foreign countries. One instance in the period of Nalvadi Krishna Wodeyar has happened, which was quoted by Vinay Dwaraswamy Iyengar, which was called as a theremin instrument. This instrument was a new one. There was a very challenging aspect to Veena Sheshana, who took the challenge, and morning he just observed the instrument, learned something from. Then in the evening he gave 1.5 hour concert in that new instrument. This is the challenging aspect, and the world was astonished to see about this. This is our Mysore. This is our Wodeyars. This is the encouragement what they wanted, what they gave. It is not only for Mysore. So 80% of the people from Tamil Nadu, the erstwhile Madras, many of the musicians hailed to Mysore, not only for their living, but also for their encouragement given to them. If I mention many of these people, what I mentioned, at least 50% of them for Madras. They hailed only for the purpose of the encouragement given by these Wodeyars, particularly from Chamaraja Wodeyar the 10th to Jayachamraj Wodeyar. Though Nobody Krishna Wodeyars gave, many of these people learned that lesson and came to Mysore. So, many of the new instrument was given, like Gotuvatya, one of the new instruments invented in Mysore. Then many of the harmoniums which hailed to other parts of India. Then the Jaltarang, which are knowing. All these are the very examples that we take it as far as Mysore is concerned. In the part of dance, many of the dances could be remembered. The lineage is even now continuing on. Karnataka classical music on one side, Hindustani music on the other side, then the dance, Bharatanatyam, classical Karnataka dance, Bharatanatyam, is even today has nicked its name in the entire part of the world. Karnataka's contribution is very, very great. The dances of Karnataka has to be saluted on this occasion. Now, different rulers were responsible for this, particularly Nalodi Krishna Wodeyar is again to be remembered. Jeti Tayama in the period of Chamaraja Wodeyar, Akamani and Bhavanamma, the duet of dancings, Bangalore Chandravadanamma, Amritappa, Nanjangud Rajamma, Nanjangud Nagaratnamma, a very famous dancer, Venkatalakshamma, Muguru Subbanna dancer again, Yajaman Kodar Kittanda was responsible for the songs for the dances, Tirumakudu Sundaramma, Bangalore Nagaratnamma. These are the very famous dancers. Now in Mysore, there are so many dance schools, in Mysore particularly. It has spread to the different parts of the world. Recently, last year, I had the opportunity to visit America with my son and family. I visited about 2-3 houses where they were teaching Mysore classical dance, Bharatanatyam, in California, in 3 different parts of California. Just I visited. There are so many centers like that. See, they are the ambassadors of our Mysore lifestyle of dance to the world. I'm just giving America because I have seen. There are 2 dancers, my students. One is Rashmi Shankar, a very famous dancer in London, who is teaching them. She is a doctor, she is a bone marrow cancer specialist. But she is dancing. Every year she conducts workshops for the Britishers there. This is our legacy of Mysore Wodeyars. Hats off to them. Then we take the drama style. Sorry. I'm having sore throat. Excuse me for that. Then, in the field of drama, as I told Tiger Vardachar, if you see him, at least if you see the photo, you yourself will be encouraged to become an actor. Like that, his stature is there. Giribhatta Tammayya, Tiger Vardachar, Malavali Sundaramma, Gubbi Veeranna, we remember Rajkumar from Gubbi Veeranna company. Then Nataka Shiromani, Belakawadi Srinivasa Iyengar was also a musician. Belakawadi family is very famous in contributing a great deal to music and drama to Mysorean. Then Mandyam Rangacharya, C.B. Mallappa, then Basappa Shastri, I told already, who was called the Abhinava Kalidasa. Most of the Sanskrit dramas were translated into Kannada. Then it has been translated to English. Hamlet, you remember Hamlet of Shakespeare? It has been translated to Raktakshi. And like that, they not only translated, but they enacted in the Royal School of Drama. Royal family members were given all these things separately in the palace itself. About Macbeth or Othello, all these were translated only for the purpose of kings. And of course, it got wide spread aspect and it was spread to the entire part of Karnataka. On the same line, we take Yakshagana. Yakshagana is also encouraged. Of course, South Canada is responsible for that. They were encouraged very much. In the field of art, architecture, Mysore Palace itself is a great sculptural concept for that. So many palaces are there, I need not mention about that. But I had to mention something about Raja Ravi Verma, who was a great artist. Raja Ravi Verma, Singanacharya Narasimha Swami, then Siddhalinga Swami, Subramania Raju, the contemporary artist, Devi Subbanacharya, Y. Nagaraju, Keshavaya, Venkatappa Chitrakala Shala is in Bangalore, Venkatappa Chitrakala Shala, B. Basavaya, then Chinnachar, so many artists. Their legacy is very great. Even today is carried out by our modern artists. That is different. If you go to Jagannath Palace, the art gallery, you'll find so many works of our Raja Ravi Verma from Kerala. Like that, we take the different palaces. It may be Mysore Palace, Lalita Mahal Palace, Vasanta Mahal Palace, Chelwamba Palace, Rajendra Vilas, Darya Dawlat Srirangpatna, then Jagannath Palace, Bangalore Palace in Bangalore, Lokaranjan Mahal, St. Philomena Church in Mysore, then Bangalore Fort, the fort temple, Venkatramana Swami temple, built during the period of 1700 by Chikkadevaraja Wodeyar, because he had a son who was deaf and dumb. So, to make it was ಒಂಥರ ಪಾಪ ಪ್ರಜ್ಞೆ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. They wanted to construct this temple, it constructed. You can find an inscription in that also, even today. Dasara, of course, we need not mention about. It's a world famous event conducted for 10 days. Dasara, Mysore Dasara. Yeshtondu Sundara. Isn't it? So that Mysore Dasara is even today catching everyone. But it was during the period of the government of Karnataka. It has been changed into a government program after 1969 in particularly. 1969, the privy purse was given back to the central government by the palace. So palace became a private property for some time. It is all in the cold cases. So many things are there. We need not discuss about that. So Dasara, those started during the period of Raja Wodeyar II. It was started in Vijayara period, during the Vijayara period, and brought to Mysore. In both the areas, Hampi as well as Mysore, they conduct the Dasara separately. But Mysore Dasara is very famous. So this is a cultural festival of them, as I see this. So I just want to spare 5 minutes about our Krishnaraja Wodeyar, Nalvadi Krishna Wodeyar. Your president was mentioning about him. Then, ಇದನ್ನು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೋ ಬಿಡುತ್ತೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. If you permit me, I will tell.
Please, sir. No issue.
Okay, fine. Just I have listed out some of the character of Krishnaraja Wodeyar IV. How he was. ಎಷ್ಟು ಗುರು ಜನರಲ್ಲಿ ಭಕ್ತಿ ಇತ್ತು. ಗುರುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಭಕ್ತಿ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಏನು? ಮಾತೃದೇವೋ ಭವ, ಪಿತೃದೇವೋ ಭವ, ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ದೇವೋ ಭವ, ಅತಿಥಿ ದೇವೋ ಭವ. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಗುರುವಿಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಸ್ಥಾನ ಇದೆ. ಆ ಗುರುವಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಇವತ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ನೀವು ಒಳ್ಳೊಳ್ಳೆ ಆಫೀಸರ್ಸೇ. ನೀವು ಇಫ್ ಯು ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ಯುವರ್ ಹೈಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಟೀಚರ್, ನೀವು ನಿಂತ ಕಡೆ ಒಂದು ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ. Because high school 3 years is a very changing period in the life of a child, like me or you. This is even today, it is there. That's why I wanted to become a high school teacher. I became a high school teacher. Though I could have become easily a professor in a college because I'm a college teacher. But I'm very, very happy about high school teaching, and particularly in a great school like Vidyaratnakara High School. And I've been taught very much by our teachers, including the father of our Kodandram, His father was a great English teacher. I owe a lot to him also. Then he was having so much of loveness towards everyone without any sort of bias. Matra Bhakti, Pitra Bhakti, Acharya Bhakti. Then, even though he was in the palace, finally he was going to his mother, prostrating, taking the blessing before he started anyone. How many of us have followed this? I am very lucky to have my mother till her 96 years. Daily I was having her Ashirvadam before I was going to my work. Daily. This was my habit. I learned from him. This is one. Shringeri Jagadguru's Ashirvada, our blessings was very much there. Though the palace is owed a great deal to Parkal Mata. They have done human service even to Shringeri Mat. Even today they are having all these photos. Even today you can see this. Then, particularly he was very much inclined towards serving to the people. Even ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ರೈಲ್ವೆ ಗೇಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಇವರೆಲ್ಲೋ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಂತೆ. ಆ ರೈಲ್ವೆ ಗೇಟ್ ಹತ್ರ ಒಬ್ಬ ಸೇವಕ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ, ರೈಲ್ವೆ ಗಾರ್ಡ್. ಅವನು ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಇರೋದೇನು, ರೈಲ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಗೇಟ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಯಾರೇ ಬಂದ್ರು ತೆಗಿಬಾರದು. ಕೃಷ್ಣರಾಜ ಒಡೆಯರ್ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕಾರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ರೈಲ್ ಬರೋ ಟೈಮು, ಇವನು ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಗೇಟು. ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂದು ರಾಜರು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಗೇಟ್ ತೆಗಿತಾರೆ. ತೆಗಿಯಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಹಿ ಫ್ರಾಂಕ್ಲಿ ರೆಫ್ಯೂಸಸ್. ರೈಲು ಹೋದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಗೇಟ್ ತೆಗಿತಾನೆ. ಆ ಒಡೆಯರ್ ಹತ್ರ ಬಂದು ಕಾಲಿಗೆ ಬಿದ್ದು, ಕ್ಷಮಿಸಿ, ನಾನು ನನ್ನ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತಾನೆ. ಸೋ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ. 30 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಆ ಕಾಲಕ್ಕೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಮನಿಯಾಗಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರಂತೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ರೆಕಾಗ್ನಿಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಬೈ ಕೃಷ್ಣರಾಜ ಒಡೆಯರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬೀನ್ ವೆರಿ ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಇನ್ ಎವರಿ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್. ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಖುಷಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಸುಮಾರು ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಸ್ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಂತೆ. ಒಂದ್ಸರಿ ಸೋಲಿಗಾಸ್, ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಹರ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೋಲಿಗಾಸ್ ನಿಯರ್ ಚಾಮರಾಜನಗರ್. Soliga is a very great tribal. So many officers have come as IAS and IPS. IRS ನವರು ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಸೋಲಿಗಾಸ್ ಇಂದ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಮಕೃಷ್ಣ ಮಠದವರು ಕೆಲವರು ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೃಷ್ಣರಾಜ ಒಡೆಯರ್ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದು ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರಂತೆ, ಕೇವಲ 4 ಜನ ಮಾತ್ರ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಇರ್ತಾರಂತೆ ಆ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ. ಅದು ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್. ಇವರು ಹಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಹೋಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಹೋಗೋಣ ಅಂತ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಇವರು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೋದಾಗ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಮಾತಾಡ್ಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಟೀಚರ್ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ರು, ಏನೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಆ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮನೆಗೆ ಹತ್ರ ಇತ್ತು, ಒಂದು ಗೋಡೆ, ಆ ಕಡೆ ಸ್ಕೂಲು, ಈ ಕಡೆ ಮನೆ. ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಮಾತಾಡಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಸುಮಾರು ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತ ಇರೋ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಮಾತಾಡಿಸಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಟೇಬಲ್ ಕರೆದು ಮಾತಾಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರಂತೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ, ನೀವು ನಾನು ಯಾರು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ ಅಂತ. ನೀವ ಅಮಲ್ದಾರ್ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಆಫೀಸರ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರನೇ ಬರೋದು, ಇನ್ಯಾರು ಇರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ, ನೀವು ಅಮಲ್ದಾರ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಾರಂತೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಫೋಟೋ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಆ ಫೋಟೋ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಈ ಫೋಟೋ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿ ಅಂತಾರಂತೆ. ನೋಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಹುಡುಗನಿಗೆ ಆಶ್ಚರ್ಯ ಆಗತ್ತಂತೆ. ಅಯ್ಯೋ, ರಾಜರು ಇವರು ಅದು ಖುಷಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರಂತೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಜು ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ ಚಪ್ಪಳ ಹೊಡಿತಾರಂತ. ಅವಾಗ ಹಿ ಫೀಲ್ಸ್ ಸೋ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಜಿಲೇಬಿ ಅದು ಇದು ತಿಂಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ತರಿಸ್ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಹಿ ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ 4 to 5 hours ಇನ್ ದ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್. ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆ, ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಜೊತೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಜೊತೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳಾಗೋದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಖುಷಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇವರಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಷಮಾಗುಣ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಜನಾಭಿಮಾನ ಅಂತೂ ತುಂಬಾ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ತಾವು ಬರ್ತ್ಡೇ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಇಡೀ ಮೈಸೂರು ನಗರಕ್ಕೆ ಲಾಡು ಹಂಚೋರಂತೆ. ಇದು ಅವರ ಗುಣ. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಇದಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ದಾನ ಅನ್ನೋ ಗುಣ ಒಬ್ಬರಿದ್ರೆ ಇಂಥವರೆಲ್ಲ ಆಟೋಮೆಟಿಕಲ್ ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇದು ಪ್ರಾಣಿ ದಯೆ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಶಿಸ್ತಿನ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ದೆನ್ ಅನುಕಂಪ, courtesy ಇವರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ. ದೆನ್ ವಿತೌಟ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಹಿ ವಾಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ತಪ್ಪು ಯಾರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸಡನ್ ಶಿಕ್ಷೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ. ಪ್ರತ್ಯಕ್ಷ ಪ್ರಮಾಣಿಸಿ ನೋಡಿ ಅನ್ನತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದು. ಅಂಡ್ ಹಿ ವಾಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಅಡ್ವೆಂಚರಸ್. ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕಲಿಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಕಲಿಯೋರು, ಎಂತ ವಿದ್ಯೆ ಆದ್ರೂ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಕಲಿಯೋರು. ವೀಣೆಯನ್ನು ಕಲಿತವರು, ಪಿಟೀಲ್ ಬಾರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಸಂಗೀತ ಆಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಹೊಸ ಹೊಸ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೂಮೆಂಟ್ ಕಲಿತಾ ಇದ್ದವರು, ಜಲತರನ್ನ ನೋಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಂತೆ. ಒಂದಲ್ಲ ಎರಡಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ಹಿ ವಾಸ್ ಎ ವೆರಿ ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಪೇಟ್ರಿಯಟ್. ಒಂದೇ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು, ಇದೆಲ್ಲೂ ಪುಸ್ತಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ಕೊನೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ BC ನಾಗೇಶ್ ಅವರು ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಆದಾಗ ನನ್ನ ಕರೆದು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ರೈಟಲ್ಲಿ, ಏನಾರು ಇವ್ರು ಪೇಟ್ರಿಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಯುದ್ಧಕ್ಕೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ವಾರ್, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಸಿಗತ್ತಾ ನೋಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾನು ಪತ್ತೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ರಿಟನ್ ಇನ್ ಮೈ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ನೌ. This is in our textbook. That is in the present textbook. I was a textbook writer, but it's up to from 6 to 10 standard. So I have incorporated this. ಆ ದೇಶಪ್ರೇಮ ಹೇಗೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣರಾಜ ಒಡೆಯರ್ ದಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ to give help to the Britishers by giving around 50 lakhs rupees to the British army and to the British government at the time of the First World War. ಯಾರು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಶತ್ರುಗಳು. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿತ್ತು, ಶತ್ರುಗಳಿಗೂ ಮಿತ್ರರ ಕಾಣ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಗುಣ ಇತ್ತು ಇವರಿಗೆ. ಇದು ಹಾಗಂತ ದೇಶಾಭಿಮಾನ ಅವ್ರೇನು ಬಿಟ್ಟವರಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಅವರ ಕೈ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಇರೋರು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಲೇಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಕ್ಷಮಾಗುಣದ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಾವು ವೈರತ್ವ ಇದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಕೆಲವು ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರ ವೈರಿ ಕಷ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾಗ ನಾವು ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡೋದು ನಮ್ಮ ಗುಣ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಫೀಲ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಹೌ ಅವರ್ ಕೃಷ್ಣರಾಜ ಒಡೆಯರ್ ಡಿಡ್ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ for the cause of the development of Mysore to be called as a modern Mysore. Akasmataki modern Mysore is indebted to the great work of Chamaraja Wodeyar the 10th, Nalvadi Krishnaraja Wodeyar, and the Queen Mother, Kambaranjamani, or even our Jai Chamaraja Wodeyar. Hats off to these rulers and our great rulers. Even today we call them as Rajavud. ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಜರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ನಮಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಖುಷಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ. ನಾನು I am lucky to invite 2 Wodeyars for the release of my book. One project on 5th April 1992 by Shrikanta Datta Narsimharaja Wodeyar, who is releasing my project work on 5th April 1992 in my school, Vidyaratnakara High School, in front of about 400 children. That's why I'm very lucky. This book, of course, is released by our present MP or our Wodeyar. That is, I think I am not having that picture here, but this is the book, which is, of course, I have indebted to my students ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ಇದನ್ನು ನಾನು ನನ್ನ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಪಣೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಇದು ನನ್ನ ಹೈಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಜೀವನ ಒಂದಾದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಅಲ್ಪ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಒಡೆಯರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದನ್ನ ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇನೆ. ಐ ಆಮ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ 100% one, but I hope I might have satisfied a bit to you and many things to be studied. So I'll give these copies whoever you want. You can write to me. Anyway, my number is there with Kodandram. Anytime you can approach me. Whatever I know, I'll definitely share with you all people. Thank you for the opportunity and a very good 1 hour time, which is very precious in my period of life, particularly 70 plus period now. I am 72 years old. Even today I am teaching. I am very happy about this. Daily I teach around 25 to 40 children in different schools also. Thank you once again. ಯಾವುದನ್ನು ತಗೋತೀರಾ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಯಾವುದನ್ನು ಬಿಡ್ತೀರಾ ನನಗೆ ಬಿಡಿ. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Your life itself is an inspiration to all of us, not just Wodeyars and our Maharajas. Thank you for taking time out and enlightening us during the Dasara days, upcoming Dasara days.
Thank you, sir.
Bharatraj,
Thank
sir,
you.
please.
Sir, hello.
Bhima Shankar,
Bharatraj.
sir, you want to say something?
Sir, Jayashankar, sir, please, sir.
Varaprasad.
Yeah, okay.
Sir, I want to share something, sir.
Please.
Please, Varaprasad.
Sir, sir was talking about economic development of Mysore. For any good economic development, you need a good communication system, sir. So Mysore had one of the earliest postal systems in the world, which was started as Mysore Anche in 1672, sir. And
The
it ended
postal,
in
sir, 1 minute. The postal department was started in Mysore in 1704 by Chikka Devaraja Wodeyar.
correct Sathyaprakash, and it merged with imperial. It merged with Imperial Post Office in 1889, and it was called as Mysore Anche Postal System, and it covered the entire region of Mysore. Even though they didn't have their own postal stamps, they used to give red color postmarks called Mysore Anche, Bangalore Anche, Channapatna Anche, Chitradurga Anche. I have got quite a few covers of those Mysore Anche
Very good,
postal
very good.
systems.
Yes.
And the mail was
In fact,
carried
you
to
are
Maidana.
to just give one more point. This Atara Kateri, I have not mentioned all those things. There are so many things. Atara Kateri is one example for a good administration in every field.
Yes, sir. So
Yes, sir.
they had one of the best postal systems in the Indian subcontinent, sir. Even before
yes.
British or any other people came into this thing, postal system, Mysore had one of the best postal systems.
The old Mysore Palace office is also having one communication center,
Yes.
telecommunication center.
Yes,
Sir, adding to Sathyaprakash this thing, sir.
Yes,
ನಾವು
sir.
ಇವಾಗ ನಾವು ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಫಾರಿನ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಇದು ಬಹಳ ಹಿಂದೆನೆ ಇತ್ತು ಕೃಷ್ಣರಾಜ ಒಡೆಯರ್ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಬಿನ್ನಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕರೆದಿದ್ವಿ ಬಿನ್ನಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಗ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ ಬಿನ್ನಿ ಮಿಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಕಿರ್ಲೋಸ್ಕರ್ನ ಕರೆದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹರಿಹರದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಿರ್ಲೋಸ್ಕರ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು ಮೈಸೂರು ಮಹಾರಾಜರು ಕಿರ್ಲೋಸ್ಕರ್ಗೆ ಜಾಗ ಕೊಟ್ಟು 99 ವರ್ಷ ಲೀಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಅದನ್ನ ಹರಿಹರದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು ಹುಬ್ಳಿ ಕಿರ್ಲೋಸ್ಕರ್ ಹುಬ್ಳಿ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಒಂದು ಜಾಗ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವಾಗ್ಲೇನೆ ಥಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಫಾರಿನ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬೇರೆ ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರದಿಂದ ಬಂದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅವಾಗ್ಲೇ ಇತ್ತು ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ದೇ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ವಿಷನರೀಸ್.
Definitely.
sir, one more thing, even for Indian Institute of Science, Maharaja gave 371 acres of land, and initial capital of 5 lakh rupees was given by Maharaja only. And first one few years, even for expenditure also, every year he gave 50,000 rupees. That was the great contribution of the Maharaja towards Indian Institute of Science.
Exactly.
I think
Yes, sir.
you should take a special session through your stamps and coins on Mysore Kingdom. I think that itself is a very big topic.
They got
We are going to plan it. He's a great Philalti. Philately, I
please.
talk to only on Mysore. We'll make him.
Sir, our Varaprasad is an
Encyclopedia.
of
Postal.
I mean, he is a
philatelic,
stamp
Oh, so
collector.
nice.
international man.
Very good, very good.
So any talk,
So nice.
yes, he
In
will
fact,
talk to us
one more
with a
point I
lot of
want to add
simplicity.
now. 1 minute, sir. One more point I want to add. You see about corona and other contagious diseases. For the vaccination, in Mysore 1806, the first vaccination has to be given from the British to Mysore. So nobody was interested to take vaccination for plague. The Maharani came volunteer and gave vaccination to her son, who was to become the ruler. And that is Mysoreans. And after taking this vaccination, all the people volunteered and took vaccination. That is the contribution of Wodeyars. They are selfless. That is a great thing. Yes, sir. Thank you for many of your information also. I'm having so many things, but time is too short to cover so many aspects.
That is true.
It could
That's
be
true.
divided
Anybody else
into
has
10 different chapters.
If anybody has any questions, any further inputs, please give. And I request Mr. Bharadraj to cast vote of thanks later. Please.
Friends, today we have a very emotional experience today. Especially, I am filled with lot of emotions. NSP sir has taken us by time machine to Nalbadi Krishnaraja Wodeyar's period, and his talk was, as though it was an audio session, it was as effective as a video session. So we all experienced it and we visualized it, all his narrations before our eyes, as if we went back to Nalbadi Krishnaraja Wodeyar's period by time machine. So it was a very emotional and informative talk. And especially for me, I have two reasons to become emotional. One is I have lands around Vani Vilasa Sagara, the first dam built by Nalbadi Krishnaraja Wodeyar. Second one, in Tumkur district, I came to know that Nalbadi Krishnaraja Wodeyar constructed one more dam in memory of Jaichamarajendra Wodeyar's wedding. Just to commemorate his wedding, he constructed one more dam in Tumkur district. See, that was his philanthropic utilization of funds in the name of, though it was a royal ceremony, he did not celebrate luxuriously. He invested on a constructive this thing to help the people. And one anecdote I want to quote about Nalbadi Krishnaraja Wodeyar. He used to travel to Bangalore via Chikballapur during summer. Usually he used to take a break for his journey near Chikballapur outskirts. There was a temple in a dilapidated condition. He used to take a break for his journey for about 15 to 20 minutes there. So Diwan Mirza Ismail came to know about that. He thought Nalbadi Krishnaraja Wodeyar may be interested in that temple, which is in a dilapidated condition. So he presented a sanction for the budget to regenerate the temple. When that paper went to place it before Krishnaraja Wodeyar, he called the Diwan and said, with what intention you are going to regenerate the temple? He said, Your Highness, you are taking a break every time in your journey in that way. So I want to regenerate it. I don't want to allow it in that condition. Then Krishnaraja Wodeyar laughed at Diwan and said, you don't know the secret behind my break of journey. My chauffeur is in the habit of smoking. So if I continue my journey without a break, he had no chance of smoking and taking rest for 10 minutes. I cannot reveal this secret before everybody also as a king. So just I'm taking a break for his journey so that my chauffeur can have a smoke and relax. So don't waste people's tax money on that dilapidated this thing. So this is the reason behind that. Please don't waste people's money on that the rejuvenation of the temple. So this was a practical and a rationalist thinking of about people's tax money and other things. And recently I came to know that he was switching off palace lights unnecessarily, which was burning. He himself was switching off the lights in the palace. So that was the greatness of Krishnaraja Wodeyar. And recently, about 5 months back, I met a lady about 92 years old. Her name is Ansuya Sharma, daughter-in-law of S.G. Sharma, who is behind introduction of Mysore sandal soap in Karnataka 106 years back. Nalbadi Krishnaraja Wodeyar and Vishwesharaya chose S.G. Shastri, Sosale Garadapura Shastri, and sent him to England, and he learned the art of making the sandal soap and came to Mysore, and Nalbadi Krishnaraja Wodeyar and Vishwesharaya, they started Mysore sandal soap under the guidance of S.G. Shastri. The lady whom I met, she is 92-year-old and daughter-in-law of S.G. Shastri. She narrated the whole story of Mysore sandal soap to me. And that day itself, I went to a shop and purchased premium quality Mysore sandal soap, cost 800 rupees, a wonderful product. So these are my experience and attachment with Nalbadi Krishnaraja Wodeyar, Vishwesharaya, and Mysore Wodeyars.
So nice
with this,
sharing.
with this sharing, I thank NSP sir with the bottom of my heart. This is a wonderful talk and the most emotional talk I ever heard in our Sambhashane program. Really, you filled all Kannadiga with pride and emotion and real pleasure today, sir. So I thank you
Thank you.
on behalf of all the participants today. And I thank organizers of this talk, Mr. Kodandram, our president, sir, everybody. And thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sirs, for everyone. Next Thursday, we are having a program from Venkatesh, especially focused on Sanskrit. Topic we have not yet selected. It will be much more useful. Kindly join us. Tell your friends to come every Thursday without fail. Thank you.